What's going on, everyone? Hayden Davidson here. Hope you are doing fantastic. Now, this video is more just sort of a documentation, a little bit of a documentation, just repeat myself, of my journey. I do these now and then. I like to do these now and then. Why do I keep repeating what I'm saying? documentation, document my journey. I like to do these now. I like to do these now and then. Anyway, a little bit of a documentation on my journey, sort of, because I like to get the grime as well as the good times. Never said that before. I like to get the grime as well as the good times. A lot of people on social media just get the good times. And for me, it's important to get the bad times as well. Now, this is relative. It's not necessarily bad, but I'm just not feeling my best. And I just like to talk about it. I like to have it on the journey. Whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, whenever I'm feeling a little bit like things are a little bit on top of me, I want to try and start getting more of that on camera, just because I want to have it to look back on. The reason I want to have it to look back on is because I know where I'm going, and I want this to inspire other people as well. So, like, right now, things are, it's fine. Things are going fine. And that's personal life and business life and whatever. Things are going fine, but I don't like fine. And I want to achieve a lot in my life. So when things are going fine or whatever, you could say I sort of not necessarily pick holes in it. I'm blabbering now. Not necessarily pick holes in it, but I know where I want to go. And if I feel like I'm not on the right track, or if I feel like things are a little bit unstable, personal life or business life, I tend to dive into that problem rather than just ignore it and try and figure it out. Because there's one thing that I don't want is to be average. Being average scares the hell out of me, so I don't want to be average. That's one thing I don't want to do. But what I do want to do is achieve a lot. So I wanted to do this video to sort of have this to look back on for when times get tough. I want people to realise that the tough times, they're a byproduct of where you want to go. And look, I'm like, I wouldn't class myself as successful at all yet. I'm just well and truly in the grind, in the journey, all that sort of stuff, right? I'm just working as best I can to get there. So, having said all that, and currently where I am, I thought it was important just to sort of explain that every successful entrepreneur that I know, that I've heard their story and things like that, they've been at it for a long time. Now, I don't mean that you have to work 50, 60, 70 hours a week, like hustle culture, to get to where you want to be, but it's just a fact. Most people, apart from the exceptions, have worked for like 7 to 10 years on what they're doing prior to actually achieving that thing, apart from the sort of 1% of the 1%, right? They've worked on it. They've worked on it really bloody hard. And I used to sort of feel sorry for myself, like, oh, why are things so tough for me? It looks like they got it so much easier. It looks like, oh, why is it so easy for them and not for me? And, things are more stable for them. But it's just rubbish. It's absolute rubbish to myself. There's very, very, very few entrepreneurs that have actually got to somewhere decent, or not even necessarily entrepreneurs, just people that have been really successful in life. People don't talk about the bad times as much. They just don't, they keep them to themselves. They bottle them up, especially on social media and things like that. So that's one of the reasons I want to do this video, to have it there for the future, right? But more importantly for now is just to sort of acknowledge that. And if you're on a journey just like I am as well, trying to get to that sort of next level, or trying to get to achieve that thing that you want to achieve in life, then it's really fucking important. I think really important. It must be important because I don't swear on my YouTubes usually. It's really important to just back yourself, and this is something that I did not do enough. I didn't back myself enough. I didn't believe in myself enough. Whenever things got really, really, really tough, I would start thinking about quitting rather than thinking about where I could be if I stuck this out. How much more stable I'd be if I stuck this out, and actually realise that most of the problems I were having was in that moment. But if I stuck to it long term, then I wouldn't have had them problems by now. But because I didn't stick to some stuff, I then ended up having the problems sort of for a prolonged period of time. So actually, sometimes quitting or sometimes giving up on something, and not in all situations, by the way, it may feel like the best thing 'cause you just got to get out of something. But actually, sometimes you're literally, when it's getting really, really tough, I found that you're literally just before a breakthrough, usually. But anyway, as I was saying, most people are just, they've had it, you know, they've had it hard, and they've earned their stripes. A lot of the very successful people you see, even very happy people, some people don't talk about it as much online, they got there because they persevered and they really, really went for it, when most people were terrified, you know. A lot of people wouldn't be able to do what I do because my income's like this, you know, it like sort of fluctuates quite a lot at the moment. And I find that tough, you know, to be honest, I find that tough. And I thought about, oh, should I go and get like, you know, a decent part-time job, or start doing something else to generate more stable income whilst I'm building this. I've got obviously my long-term goals of the brand and stuff. And look, it would be so much tougher if I didn't believe in where I was going. It all comes back, in my opinion, to believing where you're going. All the times that I've messed up in the past is that I didn't believe where I was going enough. I didn't believe in myself enough. I didn't back myself enough. I didn't say, right, Hayden, look, just stick with this, or you're doing this to do something else, as in like, you know, you're doing that job you're doing now, or you're doing a business you're doing now to have your long-term goal in that other thing, but you need this right now to keep your mind stable whilst you're going after that thing. Because if you're trying to work on a bigger thing but you don't have any income to supplement your lifestyle, to live a fairly okay life whilst you're going after that bigger thing, that's, in my experience, when things get really tough. So, but hold the pillars and the concrete foundations that holding this all up is the self-belief, and that's what I've got a lot more of now. And if I didn't have that, I'd be in a really bad place. So that's what I do. Just have to believe in myself. You have to believe in yourself. And I want this video to look back on, because once again, I know where I'm going, and I wouldn't be able to do this mentally or physically, get myself up in the morning, if I didn't know where I was going. Self-belief is the number one. I know you hear this a lot in the personal development books, things like that. You hear it a lot, you know, like, oh, just believe in yourself, and all that stuff. And you're like, oh yeah, okay. Sometimes you can hear that stuff too many times and you just ignore it. It doesn't go in. But actually, I did that for too long, and I found out, look how sweaty I'm going. It was the main ingredient that I was missing. But because you see it so much, because you hear it so much, you assume that it's not actually that important. You assume it's just a little bit woo-woo and all that stuff. It's not. It's the most important ingredient. If you don't believe in yourself long term, you won't stick with what you need to stick to. And I don't just mean a specific business or job. I mean, you won't stick to just not giving up on that long-term dream. Even if you don't know what that dream is right now, if you know that you've got that fire inside yourself and you know that you've got to do something, it's the self-belief that will drive that drives that, in my experience. Self-belief is everything. So anyway, that was just a little journey, a few my truths, documenting my journey. I hope you enjoyed the video. And it's more just to document the journey, really. This sort of stuff doesn't get really popular because it's just, you know, it's just documenting my journey, but that's what I do. Follow Gary Vee quite a lot, and he says just document your journey, your truth, and things like that, and that's what I do. So I hope you enjoy the video. I'll speak to you all soon.